Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Borderline Hooligans podcast. To the right of me, I have Brennan.
Ahoy, ahoy.
To the right of him is Savannah.
Hello.
To the right of her is Brady.
Present.
And to the right of him is Alex.
Ooga booga, motherfuckers.
My name is Aaron, and welcome back to the Mother Podcast.
You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok as BL Hooligans. You can find us on Twitch, YouTube, Spotify, and many other, by many, I mean like 2 other podcast platforms. It's Borderline Hooligans. And as always, if you're curious, we're on a social media page. Please just look up Borderline Hooligans. It's not hard. I'm sure you can find us. Make it very simple to find people.
As it goes on, it gets really bad.
Depending on how many things we have open as well.
Okay.
Is there any Budweiser in there, Brendan?
I think there might be 1 or 2.
Is there a way that we can fit these easels in there?
Oh, hell yeah.
Diesels. You're not even talking about Budweiser.
No. Budweiser ain't the diesel I need today.
For the
Diesel.
listeners, Sav and Aaron aren't with us today, but we do have a guest, Steve.
Dave.
He is one of the bartenders at a local watering hole.
Oh, yeah.
Your coworker, Alex.
Yeah, I guess. Worked a hell of a
I
day
guess.
last Saturday.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Dude, I don't even know where to begin because it was a shit show from... I showed up at 4 and I was on the bar stool open all morning. So I've been drinking since 9. And I've been taking it fairly responsible, 1, maybe 2 beers per stop, and pacing myself, but still had a rather decent buzz on. So I show up and I don't know if you guys how long you've known
Ever since we started going there.
so how long is that?
Since last November.
Okay, so I've
Probably
known her for
almost a year.
12 years, and I've also known bartending with her equally as long. I haven't been the one bartending, but she's been the one serving me.
Mm-hmm.
So I know when she gets in her moods, it's just fuck you, fuck this person, fuck that, and it's hard to squell her down. But at the same point, I walk in, Kaz is fucking oh, everybody's oh, and I'm just this is all right, man. It's fine, man. I'm having a good time. I don't know why is everybody stressed? And it wasn't until the first hour later that I was I think I understand why everyone's fucking stressed.
No, they called me right at 2:45 and asked me, "Hey, can you come up here and help? They only have 1 person on inside and I'm outside. Can you come up here?"
The hard part is, dude, that place is going through a lot of shit.
Yes,
Mhm.
that it is. Details that we don't really need to get too deep into.
No,
Obviously.
but as far as attracting servers and bartenders to come work out at, I don't care if it's, I don't care if it's, I don't care if it's, I don't care.
Hey, we kind of have a thing here where we don't want to name
Listen,
drop.
No, I'm
names,
just saying just south. I want to say all the bars on the south side of the lake.
Right.
Because everywhere is having a hard time getting. I don't care if you're a factory. But it doesn't matter. Everybody's having a hard time in this community getting. Dude, seriously, you see everybody can get on Indeed. Everybody can get on. You see how many jobs are available. Everyone is struggling for help, and I think the biggest problem with the south side of the lake to attract help is that it is kind of a drive for a lot of people. For one. Even for me, I live on the north side of the lake, so coming over here, it's a 20-minute drive, and it's not even that far.
Yeah.
Alex can't complain about that.
No, yeah.
I can't.
But
I just want to say something real quick. He was trying to warn you earlier. We try not to name drop so we don't have to bleep.
Because he has to do all the editing, and then he has to go over.
I don't think
Pull that
anything.
stuff out.
I don't think anything. I think you could leave in because I'm not singling out anywhere.
No,
I'm just saying in total, and I think especially for bars, if you are a server or a bartender on the south side of the lake, most of your income is dependent upon boat traffic.
Yes.
Of course.
And if you are a server or a bartender in town, either whether it be, all of those places, it's not dependent upon the lake.
No, it's dependent on just the fact that people are coming in because they know that place.
And exactly, so it's easier. So if you're a server or a bartender, you're I'm just going to go there because I know I'm going to have consistent clientele. Whereas if you're working on the south side of the lake or anywhere on the lake, I'd say the south side specifically, just because like the north side, you still have south side, a rather smaller community. It doesn't deliver the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tight knit, but you're gonna have. Working at one of the bars, you have your 5 to 10 regulars that come in intermittently.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But other than that, you're
Us.
relying on party bus and this
Party, but
everything.
and if the buses don't come, because I think my last night I worked there was Sunday. Dude, at 9:30 he was dead.
Yeah.
Well, I
As
can
soon as the
believe
band died at 7, everyone was out. It was cool. I mean, no, I wasn't mad about it.
Sundays
It's
are a little
just-
different.
Yeah,
that
it's
industry.
just realizing that, like, I feel like if I owned a business, like any of those bars on the south side, I'd be like, it is going to be hard to convince a really top level server or top level bartender to come from any of these newer restaurants
or newer bars
or newer
whatever
bars
to
on the
come
north
work.
side that they know is going to have more consistent traffic.
Yeah.
I feel like that's just going to be ultimately, no matter what, just a consistent problem you're always going to have.
Well, I mean, even for me, like me and Sav started working there on and off. It's more or less we're helping out. We're not there all the time. Like we'll help out when we can, but we can't be
Well, that's how
full-time.
You
it
have a full-time
starts.
job.
Yeah.
No, that you don't understand. Like how the fuck you think I got the goddamn job?
Same way because you work at the marina that's right there.
No, it was I'll swing over here and maybe do a little bit here, do a little bit there, and then before you know it, you're gonna be, fuck, I'm a bartender. It's arguably like I've worked in manufacturing. I ran the whole gamut from like general production all the way up to maintenance and top pay grade. Like no, working in a bar is way more fun. And honestly, I would argue it's a lot more work.
Yeah, I would agree. It's because I mean, how many party buses did we get through on Saturday? It had to have been like 5 or 6.
I have no idea.
There was a shit ton. Like
I'm-
they were rolling in one after the other, and then boats were coming in, and I got there at like 3, and it was straight running around with
It's about 9:30.
yeah.
And then
It was
chilled, and then
nonstop.
although we got a regular, I'm not gonna say who it is, but his wife's cousin, fucking dime, and they were trying to hook me up with her the whole time. And they like the thing is like you don't have to sweeten the deal on like a pretty girl. Like she was gorgeous, like red hair, soft smile, great personality, really fun. I even let her take like some pictures behind the bar. She was like, I don't know what to do. I was just like handed her a glass and a towel. I was like, you just dry the glass.
Yeah,
That's what every
That's
bartender's-
the bartender's job.
Just dry the glass. Just keep drying the glass. You'll look fine. But like the one girl who was she's also one of our regulars. She's like, just like look at her tits. They're so great. I'm like, yeah, I noticed right when she walked in. And then our other regular, he was like, dude, I don't mean to say this, but like, dude, her parents got more money than God. I was like, dude, I don't care. This girl could be homeless and I'd still hit it. You don't have to sweeten the pot. Like I could see her and I was like, nah, this is fine. Like,
I can only get so erect.
yeah, I'm like, you're just, what do you want me to do? Like, it's pretty much like saying, hey, Rolls Royces are really comfortable. I don't know if you realize that. I'm like, yeah, I can't
List
get
all
in
these
those either.
things. Oh yeah.
They don't let me sit in those. She's not letting me either.
So that's Steve.
Anyway, that's Steve.
That's me.
No, I thought it'd be cool to talk about a little bit of the comedy that you do, since you've started getting into that and actually have gigs and everything around.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I don't know when you're going to drop this or how long.
Next Tuesday.
So most of this is going to be irrelevant, but as of like today, which is the 13th, 15th.
Yeah.
Yeah, today is the 15th. Tomorrow, the 16th, I'm going to be at Summit City Comedy Club in Fort Wayne for their open mic, that's a good time. It's a fun show. I'll also be there the 26th, which is a Wednesday as well. That show starts at 7:30. Doors open at 6:30. It's 100% free. It's an actual comedy club. Like it's not like a bar. It's not some like whatever the fuck, it's a comedy club. So it's cool. And then this Friday, I got a nice little show at a art studio, Studio 07. It's produced by Comedy Graffiti. This dude, Drew Zimmerman, runs it. And he's got me on a show. And my buddy, Zach Harley, I just got him on that same show for Friday. So unfortunately, no one was going to be able to go see those unless you can come see the 26th show. But then I got a sketch show like September 8th, I think, something sketchy at Cafe Kerouac in Columbus.
Oh, so
Ooh.
you're actually expanding even more from the last you talked about, at least with me.
I've talked to a couple of my comic friends about like just the overall strategy of it. Like coming from the art world, it's a little bit more hard to discern what's the path. So like as a painter, you're like, okay, you could do the Etsy route, but unless you're doing what's trendy, no one really cares.
Yeah.
Like if you're
Or,
not
like-
doing wood carving or like something wearable,
Or you're
like
not doing like Fiverr where you're doing it mission where you're
yeah.
paid to paint this certain thing or whatever.
Yeah, it's just kind of, and then you're really just like, okay, how do I get gallery representation? And then it's like, that's a whole, I mean, it's not impossible. It's really just putting together a really nice portfolio, but that comes with its own cost of getting good photographs taken of your work and being able to like put together a decent body. Like I've had solo exhibitions, but it's mostly getting the photography side, the tech side, the marketing side, all that's the stuff I've always had a hard time with. But then it's like, okay, then now I get into a gallery and then now what? You know, I got to do another show, a series of shows. They do the marketing. So there's a path, but it's a little hard to get into. Whereas comedy, like the barriers to entry are very fucking low.
It's just, is it
Sign
harder
up.
to get up?
No, it's just sign up, go up.
And
You'll
then-
you'll find mics that are just sign up, go up mics, which is pretty much you sign up, you can go up. Same way with karaoke.
Okay.
So like you put your name on a list. The host might jumble it around. They put out another list, and then like, hey, here you are. You got to go. Like you're the 5th or you're the 7th comic, and you need to do 5 minutes. I'll give you the light at 4. There you go, and that's how you get your start.
Okay. And then you just get attention from there.
I mean, there's ways to go about it. Like my first year, was really just fucking around because I'd done comedy in like junior high and in high school. And then I tried a little bit right when I got to Ohio State and was kind of bopping around to Columbus a little bit, but didn't really know what I was doing and kind of abandoned it. And then once the pandemic hit, I'd had a friend who'd been in my ear about like starting up doing it again for like 5 years. And I was like, okay, if anything ever opens up again, I'd be a fool not to take it. So it kind of lit a fire, and I got into a way that I could go start doing them. Started doing shows in 2020, or it was like 2020, 2021, right when we just opened back up, when we still had curfews.
So like just basic soft opening sort of shit.
Yeah, like we had to be done by 10. We had to wear masks in the building. We had to put like little mic condoms over the mic. Every comic had to take them on and off. Like that was gonna fucking help. Like it was wild. But I mean, and then we slowly kind of played around with that. But like you could just continue to open mic, and you're gonna run into, hopefully you'll run into a couple people that you can fuck with, like you can write with, you can hang out with, that you can do things with, because you're gonna end up having your crew. And you can, everyone floats a little bit, but it's like a job.
So it's kind of like the whole crew with the whole Adam Sandler movies. Like Adam Sandler doesn't really make movies. He just kind of has his friends over and makes something.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially. It is,
Well, it's the same people in the movies every time.
Yeah.
it is the, quintessential, like, it's mostly, I don't want to say it's nepotism, but it's like, you're going to help who you know and who you like and who's been good to you.
Which that's kind of the way in many fields, so it's not like it's unique to comedy either,
Yeah, it's like I know people who, I know some really funny people that I have no interest in working with just because of how they've treated me. And if I'm on a show with them, cool. I won't turn down the opportunity. However, like if someone's like, hey, do you know someone? Their name isn't the first that comes out of my mouth. It might be the 7th, 8th, 9th, but there's a whole host of other people that I can put before that person. And that's probably true for me as well.
There's people out there that would put you 7th or 8th, but there's also people out there that your name would be the first out their mouth.
Yeah. So you got to think like 30% of people are going to fuck with what you're doing. 30% of people are going to hate what you're doing. 20% of people are not going to care. and you really just got to focus on that 30% that fuck with you, because everyone else is really irrelevant. Like if you hate what I do, I'm not going to try to convince you to love me. And if you really just don't care, like, well, then, like, all right, cool, fine. Like, I'm not going to win you. There's no point in winning you over. Like, if you want to come to a show and you like it, good. But I'm not going to, like, force your hand and beg you to come out and see me.
Yeah. Because I know I talked to you saying that I would like to go see one of your shows at some point, just on a Saturday or something. That would be cool.
Hey, fucker, what are you doing Friday?
Well, that's where?
That's Fort Wayne. That's Comedy Graffiti.
Okay. I don't know. It's trivia night, though, too.
Oh, he's got... What's more important, bar trivia?
I mean, it's kind of our thing.
It is your guys' fucking thing.
I mean, Friday is the night that we always go up there, so, you know.
I don't know.
If
The
we're
main
able to.
person you would have to talk into it is Sav, because I think she was the one that would have the biggest disagreement with
I don't
it.
even know if they're going to go up there because they're coming back on Friday. Who knows what they're going to want to do?
That's true.
Probably not much. A little bit of recovery.
So, if anything, it's probably just you and me.
You want to go to Fort Wayne?
I don't know if I feel like that.
I mean, come on, buddy.
I don't know.
Like I said, I ain't gonna twist your arm. It's gonna be a killer set. Like I know the girl that's headlining, Julie Heckman, she actually hosted the first time that I went to Comedy Graffiti, and it was in the basement. So it was in the basement of this like art museum, and you pull around back. You have to go through the back door at first, and there's just this trailer that just says comedy. It's spray painted with an arrow pointed towards a door that's dimly lit, and you're suggested to go down a basement. And you're just like, what in the fuck is? You're like, all right, if that's where comedy leads you. You're like, I guess, like we're going into this hole.
Like comedy, is that a code word for drugs?
Yeah, you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna get sodomized, but either way, it's probably gonna be a good time. Just hope someone spits on it first.
Oh, jeez.
Hope it's not made of sandpaper.
You know,
Hard diamond tip.
it's ribbed for my pleasure.
Ripped for my pleasure.
That's what I used to do with for her condoms, or
Right.
I
Ribbed
used
for
to.
her pleasure.
Yeah, I just used to like flip them inside out. Now they're ribbed for my pleasure. Fuck you. I don't care about you. It's about
Damn,
me.
they feel good.
Yeah, I was like, I see what you guys are getting after. All right.
I'll take the pleasure away.
They're like, why is it so smooth in here? I'm like, yeah, now you know what I feel. Nothing. It's fucking terrible. You
just
getting all
a-
these ribs and lumps and bumps. Oh, this is great. It's like I'm running into the nebulizer.
God damn it.
It was sort of why they would have something like that on a condom, the dills and everything like that. I mean, you'd think, like, what is it, like, sorts of simulate warts and, like, leprosy and shit like that? I mean, who wants that inside them?
I mean, I don't really know, but like, have you seen the tentacles?
I mean, that's kind of freaky when you get down
So let's just say that people like shoving stuff inside them.
to it. Yeah.
And they like, apparently bumps and lumps is
Women
like
are
where
fucked.
it's at. Yeah, well,
Women are
There's dudes that do it too.
have you seen the,
Yes, you know
dude-
what I'm saying, yeah.
look at the, like, no, seriously, have you ever been to an adult store?
No.
Okay. Have you?
Yeah.
I mean, we
Do you?
talked about it, like, as a joke to look around and shit.
Okay. No, I used to,
It is a completely different beast.
it's fine. It's fine. Like I dated a girl, like she now works at one, but we used to go a lot and it was fun. We'd like go and like grab shit. She'd get lingerie or a toy or this or that, the other. But like on all the dudes' toys, like I didn't really ever have one because I'm like, fucking, I don't really need one. My hand does fine. But they have like a cutaway of like, okay, so there's bumps here. It's like like ball bearings, like right here, and then it's gonna get into like this vortexy thing that like does a slushing motion, and then it's gonna have a bunch of nubs up here. So like we're not like they're not alone for wanting the lumpy weird shit. We like lumpy weird shit apparently too.
I guess that says something for, like, after a bit, you just can't get satisfied with simple things. You have to move up to something else.
Yeah, you're damn right. You gotta like jump it up a notch.
I just think back to I remember GTA San Andreas. There was a sex shop in that game, and on the shelf is a giant chainsaw, the giant pink dildo attached to the other end, and like that just still to this day I think it is hilarious.
Like the
have you
bar-
never not seen like have you seen the real ones?
no,
They're not chainsaws. Like, so a buddy of mine in high school, his dad, God rest his soul, went to Wendell, like Wendeline Festival or whatever, the motorcycle thing up there.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Or Wetzel, that's what it is,
Yeah,
Wetzel. So I went to Wetzel, And dude, he shows me this like video, and it's on like a grainy like flip phone almost, but you can make out what's going on. And there's like this girl, she's like being like she has a leg on one dude's shoulder, a leg on another dude's shoulder, and she's like laid all the way back. And someone has like a sawzall with a dildo attached to it, and just going after it. So I mean, like that shit's. And they even make it. They sell like versions that like you don't have to adapt your like sawzall because that would
It
be
just
really
goes right into
expensive.
the sawzall.
Yeah, it's just like here you go, like click in, just blah, 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 blah.
That is
They
so
also make
ironic
like
because
full-on fuck machines that you can like set up. It's
Have
weird.
Have you ever seen the movie Burn After Reading?
No.
no,
Oh, dude, it's got like Brad Pitt in it, George Clooney's in it.
Holy
It's
shit.
a weird like comedy spy movie, and this is totally not even a part of the story, really. It's just kind of this weird like thing that's in it. George Clooney's character is building like this weird like sex glider chair that like slides back and forth, and a dildo comes up and down.
oh,
And he's so proud of it. Like that's the best part. He's been working so hard. Like he's been doing remeasuring, he's been welding things up, he's got drawings, like he's been putting a lot of effort and work into this. And like the first time he shows it to like his female love interest, she is blown away. She's like, it's amazing. It's beautiful. You know, I mean,
Probably had to take a ride after that too.
it's a great movie though. I mean, I like the cast is like amazing, but like definitely check it out. It's worthwhile. But either way, yeah, like definitely get yourself into a sex store.
It's interesting just to see. Like they have kits in there where you can make dildos of your own dick.
Mhm.
right. I have heard of those.
I've been requested twice in my life to have that done, and I didn't feel okay about it.
Try telling people we have a 3D printer. They want to take a 3D scan of their dick, and
No, I mean I don't want anyone to have my junk in perpetuity.
nah.
Like that's my dick. If
You
you
get
want
it with-
if you want it, you got to get it. It comes
Yeah.
with attachments.
Yeah.
You can't just like be grabbing that all on your own. You can't be taking that out willy nilly, sharing it around. I don't know who you're going to show that to.
I don't know who you're gonna.
I mean,
share
I
that
do
with.
like the vote of confidence for asking me to like, hey, I'd like to have this in perpetuity.
but
I mean, there was a groupie that went around with like a bunch of classic rock bands. She literally got a plaster mold of like every single member that she was with.
yeah, and she wrote a book about it.
But like
like-
that too.
Yeah, no, she wrote a book about just like the groupie lifestyle, but like the 70s and whatnot, like rock and roll and groupie lifestyle was like really different. Like you would have like it wasn't just like girls who just like banged artists. Like that was a thing, but then there was ones who like they would get back behind tour and they would hang out, and they had like the difference between hangers on and groupies and who was that, and they would end up like dating these guys and seeing them from like these short stints. And the way she described it is like you almost felt like a muse to these people. Like you knew that song was written about you, or this was inspired by you, or you were there when they wrote this. So like it wasn't just like, oh, getting your rocks off. You were also like you're almost a part of that culture.
Right.
you're
and
part of
moment.
making the music that was coming out.
Yeah, you were there for that moment in time. I think that's the big allure. That's why everyone's moving to Austin right now. That's why you see a whole bunch of comics moving to Austin, even though you're seeing a mass exodus out of the South, Southwest, Florida. Like the Midwest right now is getting so many people moving towards it.
I can believe that.
I mean, the Great Lakes area is booming because we have the largest supply of fresh water. There's a lot of people panicked about climate change, and people who are coming, and especially along the coast, like San Francisco, Seattle, Portland, LA. These are expensive cities to live in, even though they're gorgeous. They're expensive, and now it's not really worth it. Like they have gone downhill. A lot of like when a lot of people move out, there goes a lot of tax revenue, and now public services and utilities don't have funding, and it just kind of degrades
Agreed.
itself. But people with you look at Columbus. Columbus has Amazon, Google, Meta. They're getting that Intel chip factory. They're getting, I think, another chip factory in the area. Like,
They're booming.
oh yeah, they're being dubbed like the Silicon Valley of the Midwest. So it's just because we have cheap land. We are right on 75 pretty much. You could move goods. Like, this is not really a bad place to be.
and you're not too far from somewhere that can get out to sea too.
Yeah.
You truck something up to the Great Lakes, you can get it off into the ocean.
Go out there on that Erie Canal.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
I don't know. It's different. That's the first time I honestly heard of it. So if this continues as it is in a continuous trend, the Midwest will become the new coast. With
The Midwest actually used to be like a big hub.
did it?
Yeah. Yeah. At one point in time, Lima, Ohio had, I think, the second largest opera house in the country.
It's like the heart of it all was Ohio. You know, like,
Damn.
Ohio was kind of like the gateway to everything else, like from the East Coast to everywhere else. And then obviously, like the Midwest kind of took a shit eventually.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I mean,
but if that's coming back, that's great.
Yeah, one of the things you see with like one of the cool things that did happen with COVID is a lot of people are like, we need to somehow manage our supply chain. And if it's a little bit more centralized, we have a little bit more control.
yeah.
So things have started to be like, okay, let's boost manufacturing in certain areas. But like, you know, I think if that comes back, then this whole area lives again. Because, you know, when you had the auto plants, when you had the canals, when you had like, there's the history of this area having success. It wasn't until our economy switched from like a manufacturing base to a service base. So if you think about what the United States does now, we don't make a whole lot of things. We just kind of, we service. Like if you want to start a business, well, we got 10 people who will walk you through the process of how to start it, how to fund it, how to organize it and be your accountant and get clients and do your social media marketing. But we don't have anyone who really wants to make the product.
Yeah.
So that we are a service-based economy. Now we're kind of in that mode of shifting back to that more manufacturing-based economy. And the just where the Midwest sits around the Great Lakes, it's just lucky enough to be like, we're kind of not having to worry about too much climate problems. You know, we don't have big bodies of woods that are catching on fire. Obviously, all the fresh water.
Well, hell, there's Hawaii now too.
Oh man, that's. Did you see all the people like? Did you
Running into the ocean? Yeah.
I don't.
What even fucking started it? I didn't get a story on what started the whole thing.
I'm not 100% sure myself.
Like they're on a volcano. Did the volcano like?
I don't think it
erupt?
was that. I don't think it was volcanic. I think it might have been wildfire related.
Okay.
And just kind of, I don't know. It just it got out of control. My whole thing is like, why is it still like it is?
I couldn't tell you. I'm not that smart.
Like one of the largest military bases is like 2-3 miles away.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Like, I totally understand now why like Native Hawaiians are like, yo, we do not fucking like you.
Because we don't do shit to help them.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like the same way we treat Puerto Rico, but they're a fucking state. Like
We
you
just-
have like
right.
Pearl Harbor's right there. You're telling me the Navy can't come over and help some people right now?
We just don't want to put 51 stars on the flag. It's
Yeah, that's what it is. I don't want to redesign this bitch.
we've done
Which,
it
by
too
the
many
way,
times.
I gotta say, Ohio's state flag, the hardest of all state flags.
It is the best.
Yeah, it's by far.
It is.
It's unique for sure.
It's
Hold
the
on.
only pendant.
Brady, move.
Move where?
What?
Oh,
What?
I get your.
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah,
part
what
will
are
be
you?
cut
What are
out.
you
Just so you know,
doing?
there's a closet back there.
This part will all be
Jesus
cut out eventually.
Christ.
Actually, the spare bedroom.
I mean, there is. I say there is a bed. In
Is that a
closet.
rape dungeon?
So there used to be.
Well, I mean, It
this used to be
depends
the
on what he wants
spare
to do in
bedroom.
there.
And they took the entire bed and shoved it in the closet. So we always make a joke about whoever sleeps over got to sleep in the spare bedroom, which the bed literally stands up. It doesn't.
Oh
fit,
my
so-
god! Yeah, I'm just gonna lay against the wall. It's a set. What's he doing?
It
Is he
sounds
grabbing
like
a flag?
It sounds like the ways back there that the closet is like super huge, but
Like-
it's not.
What the fuck are you doing back there? Are you grabbing a flag right now? Can you even hear me? No, he can't hear shit. He's all the way up in that bitch,
This is good.
and it's cussy.
Our favorite things we used to joke about was we would try to read out his address during the episode so that he would have to bleep that out.
His social security number, all that shit.
As if I know your social security number, but
I'm glad that's like, do you?
What's that?
Do you know his social security?
No.
Oh, damn it.
Unfortunately.
We could have got a credit card in his name. Imagine the R2D2 doll we could have got.
Oh no!
Exactly, man. Fuck his credit, dude.
We need this for the podcast.
And I actually
room.
have really good
I was gonna
credit,
say,
so
Exactly,
this guy-
dude. We could just run that shit through. I bet you get approved for so much stuff.
He
Fuck his
cares
credit,
a lot
bro.
about his credit.
Dude, why? It's just a number.
because that credit got me this house at a
Age
fair
is just
deal.
a number.
Oh God, credit got me a house.
I'm
What's he
sorry.
gonna do next? Get you a car?
Already did that.
And then he wrecked it.
No, that was Vans.
No, well, I mean, you backed this car into a semi-trailer, so
Yeah,
you know.
I didn't wreck it. There's a difference.
I mean, it's still drivable, but
It was
you
a
know,
collision.
You definitely fucked it up, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's like $2,000 worth of damage.
Jeez.
just for not being able to look behind you for 2 seconds and not back into a semi-trailer.
Yeah, you should probably get a camera. You
least
seem
something
like
with a camera.
you seem like a camera. Are you serious?
It had a camera, and you still. I didn't.
I
realize
never
it had
used a camera in that thing.
So what'd you do? Just wrote in reverse and say like Jesus take the wheel, or like are we just fucking not know how to
I
drive
watched
here?
it happen. So
You didn't say nothing.
before it was,
You just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna let him fuck his shit
I
up.
was in my car. He was in his car. Before I could do
Oh.
anything, it was too late.
Like you said,
Okay.
2 seconds, and
I was just saying, like, I thought you were just like, hey, I'm gonna admit that I'm a really shitty friend right now.
Well, we're all like backing out of parking spots, and he like backs out of it. And I know my dad was in the passenger seat, and he was like, "Is he gonna hit that semi?" And then right as he says it,
boom.
we're like, "All right, like, yeah, I guess."
You know how you get so used out of driving in certain areas or backing out of certain areas that you just get
yeah, I can
comfortable?
see that coming.
That's
out
how you
of
wrecked
nowhere.
your
That's pretty
van.
much what happened. Is I got comfortable and I wasn't paying attention because I was comfortable in
That's
that
why I
area.
back into parking spots.
That's pretty. it's
No,
also-
you do that because you think you're better than us, don't you? Don't lie.
No, I do it because my dad always did it, and he got mad if I didn't. But
That's
Does
what I
your
was
dad
mad
think he's
about.
better than us?
no,
No,
I don't
he's actually
think
a really
he's
good
pretty
dude.
nice.
I've just seen that constant meme is like the only reason anyone backs into a parking spot is because they know they're better than you.
No, it's
Seeing
'cause
their
I don't think-
superiority.
I don't think I'm good enough to have to back out of it later. Is what it is. And
Ah,
Ah,
I want to pull.
I like to
hard.
pull. I'm the pull through guy.
Yeah.
If I can pull through, I'm
Oh,
pulling
yeah.
through.
No backing
Oh,
involved.
No backing, just pull through.
definitely.
And then
No
pull
pull
out.
out. Yeah, pull through, pull out, get
the
in,
pull-out
get
game
out.
is bad.
Just ramming in.
There was a guy I watched on YouTube years ago that there was some spots I guess they don't allow you to back in for some reason. I don't know what it was. It was something in Florida, but they ended up taking two cars, chopping them in half, and putting 2 fronts on them, and then putting them in the parking spot so that then they would try to give them a ticket and realize that there is no way that they could have. It's only front.
You know that's just some Karen at the HOA.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
but-
just like, I don't think it looks nice. It's not uniform if they're not all in the same direction.
I mean, he's not wrong. It probably is.
And,
probably-
you know,
probably
and
is
you're like,
why.
fine, whatever. And someone's like, stamp of approval, let's get it out. I hate HOAs. Like, if you're, how are you going to tell me what to build on my property?
Yeah.
Well, the government does that anyways.
What do you mean?
You have, in order to build something on your property, you have to get approval for it, whether or not you're part of an HOA.
I mean,
If you care what the government thinks.
Yeah, but you can always ask.
you know
for
how many
forgiveness.
crimes I've committed? I commit like so many on a
almost
daily basis.
Everybody commits crimes on a daily
Yeah, but I
basis.
commit felonies. There's a difference.
Hmm. Maybe we should bleep this out too.
Yeah, maybe we should just cut this whole
I
section.
don't think I've committed a felony in actually probably not a long enough time that I could get convicted for it. I think I could do. I think I'm statute of limitations time.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. I've been felony free for a while. It's a little upsetting.
I'm trying to think of anything I've ever done. Would be
Upsetting.
Oh, you
considered
know.
felony.
You've never.
Oh, yeah, I definitely have. Definitely have. Never mind.
Yes.
All right, there you go. There you go.
I forgot until he said it.
I mean, I have a whole bit, like a whole like joke about like how I used to sell drugs. So it's not like anything like you could like, oh no, like, it's gonna get. It's like no, like I say it to like crowds all the time. I don't think it's gonna get any crazier.
Well,
if they know it now.
honestly, anymore, it depends on what you're selling because I think more and more.
It's all the drugs you think I'd sell. A guy like me would sell. Like
Yeah.
now, I'm just someone who gets like when people ask me for stuff, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I don't have the mushrooms you want.
We used to make a joke about at the end of the episode creating like a, whenever they have the drug commercials at the end where they read off all the quick things and including death, like all the things that could happen. Doing a reading like that real fast of like, for legal reasons, everything we say on this podcast is a joke. That way, it's all like covered, I guess.
Well, see, I was on this like one podcast a long time. Well, it wouldn't have been that long, about a year and a half ago, and I brought a brand new bong with me. It was the podcast was kind of a weed smoking podcast, so I brought a brand new one with me because I know driving with a brand new glass piece. Hey, this is for tobacco purposes only, motherfucker. Like, we're good to go.
There you go.
And there's no resin in it. It's all clean. So I was like, I was going to bring it there. We were going to like, hey, here we go. Like, this is like a, gift or whatever. And let's, use it on the podcast. He's like, no, man, we can't smoke on the cast. And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, you're committing a crime on camera. I'm like, well, why do you have to let them know where we're filming? Like, just scrub the data and then upload it. They don't have to know where this is coming from, my guy.
Well, also too, think about it. How many people are doing it illegally and still posting it and not getting in any trouble whatsoever?
Yeah,
Very true.
It's drug laws are the one thing that makes me the most angry.
Forget which YouTuber it is. I think it was actually Swagger before he moved to Australia. He was in the States. I don't know what state he was in, but I know in the state he was in at the time, it was illegal to smoke weed. So anytime that he was on camera, he would go, "Oh, gotta take a quick hit from my vape," and he'd pull out a bong, and then he'd go off camera, and you just hear coughing, and you see him blow a bunch of smoke at the camera.
It's like the videos if you see people of like street racing and stuff, and they post like took a trip to Mexico this weekend.
Yeah. Or they just blur out the speedometer. You're like, all right, DDE, we know what that means. It's like, we get it. It's like, 'cause you'll see the speedometer go up, and all of a sudden it goes blurry, and you're like, oh, I wonder why.
Interesting.
Oh no,
I wish mine worked like that.
The streets of Mexico. That looks a lot like Chicago.
Mexico's a little different around here. Huh?
Mexico has a Sears Tower. Although it's not the Sears Tower anymore. I don't know what it is. To me, it's the Sears Tower.
It'll always be the
I
Sears
assume that's
Tower.
pretty much what everyone calls it still.
I'm sure there's someone in Chicago right now who's probably pretty mad that I called it the Sears Tower. Somewhere
That's
out
if
there.
they listen to this. I don't know if I told you. We don't get too many listeners.
Did it really have a name change?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. They I don't know. It's like big buildings like that are a lot like a stadium. Yeah. So like you can just sell the rights to the name. Like someone will own the building and be like, I know I can sell the name rights and make some money off of it. Like, yeah, you can have this for a contract.
The Space Needle has anything attached to it.
I would be shocked.
Pretty sure it doesn't. At least I haven't heard. Well, it's called the Space Needle.
Yeah.
So you can't change that. Otherwise, then
Space Stick.
the Space Stick.
You could still say like the name of the company, Space Needle. So like the blank Space Needle.
I'm just
You know?
saying-
Starbucks
Space
Horizon
Needle.
Space Needle.
We all think Starbucks because
Seattle.
Austin Powers.
Austin Powers. Well, my mind went to is
That's
the
exactly what my mind went to.
I'm
But
just saying, like, you think of the Sears Tower, it is Sears Tower. Otherwise, it's just the tower. The
The
Space Needle
tower.
is what always the Space Needle.
well,
You can just have a name
it's
attached
just
to
like
it.
the Empire State Building. I highly
Yeah.
doubt that gets through many companies.
The Twin Towers were always the Twin Towers
Yeah.
Damn it.
until 2001.
Rip in pieces.
Oh man, dude, no one ever everyone's always like, oh, 9/11, the towers. No one ever talks about that field in fucking Pennsylvania.
Oh, I know those
that
good crops.
cornfield.
You know that dude when that happened and he found out it was a terrorist attack.
My
He
bean
thought he
field.
was initially attacked. He thought that was intentional on him. He thought Al Qaeda had something out for him.
I've never thought about the fact that there's some dude that had his field terrorized, literally.
Yeah, he's like, hey, motherfuckers, y'all forgot. You said never forget about them towers and that there Pentagon, but remember me, Perry from Pennsylvania?
Which one was that supposed to do anyways? Was that supposed to the White House or Congress? It was one of those two.
It was supposed to hit that goddamn field, according to Terry.
Yeah. Damn it,
You
Terry.
got to imagine his that terrorist fucking family back in Afghanistan having to fucking listen. You knew he wasn't that good. That's why you weren't worried about losing him. I mean,
Think of the shame.
Yeah,
The absolute shame that came to their family because he ended up in a field.
you know that they're their family's walking to church or mosque or whatever, or just getting executed, whatever they did during that time, and they're like, he never was a good boy.
It's like,
He was never. He
We knew
could
he was
never
gonna be
get
the
much
failure.
done.
so, they talk about their 72 versions and shit like that. Do you think the quality of their versions is different based on how successful they are?
Do you think that there is a good virgin to have sex with?
I'm just saying.
There's not. Like, I don't know. I remember when I was like 16 and my girlfriend was 16 and she was a virgin and I was, and that sex was trash. Just trash. And I worked with this dude. I don't even know his fucking name. He's a piece of shit, but he was flirting with this fucking like 19-year-old, which essentially, and he was like 30. So it's like pretty much, dude, your game sucks and you're going to try to fuck this kid.
Basically.
And he did. And then one of the questions he had for her was like, are you a virgin? Which,
Why?
Yeah.
like, and that's the
little
whole
weird.
thing with the whole, like, you got 72 virgins. I don't want 72 virgins. I want like 72 well-experienced whores. Like, I want, that's what I want. I want someone who can like spit in my mouth and make me feel something. Okay.
Shit.
So we know that Steve's not going to become a terrorist anytime soon.
You don't know that. Timothy McVeigh had nothing against like 72 whores. I read that pamphlet he put out.
God.
This is what's going to get me when it comes back to the McCarthy era, because that's where we're trending here.
McCarthyism.
It's like, dude, conservatives are going to take
okay,
over.
well-
It's going to get back in the McCarthy era, and then they're just going to be like, fucking Steve one time said he read McVeigh's pamphlet, and I'm like, God damn it, it was a joke. And they're like, doesn't matter.
You do realize we looked up how much it costs to operate an A10 Warhog on this podcast before.
It's probably really expensive.
Yeah, it
Very.
is. I
Yeah,
think it's like what, like $35,000 per burst.
It's a lot.
yeah, per burp. It's yeah.
Yeah.
They're sweet.
Yeah, it's like if you, well, I mean, it also does take out whatever area you don't want to be there
Or
anymore.
it gets the job done.
Yeah, if
Very
you're like,
efficient.
hey, I want all that over in that general area fucked up, it's
You
like,
got it,
all right,
boss.
yeah, cool, we can do that.
We were making the joke that if we ever were to win the lottery, we wouldn't tell anyone, but there'd be signs, and then be the warthog in my front yard. You know,
Okay, here's the thing: is you can buy certain fighter jets. Can't buy the Warthog,
damn it.
but the jump jet, the one that like has the vector thrust, so it pushes it straight up, so you don't have to
then-
use the runway. You can buy that one because the U.S. they'll sell you decommissioned aircraft, but like the engines don't work. They'll remove a whole bunch of shit to make it so like you have essentially have a paperweight or a museum piece. But like England will sell you one that actually fucking works. They don't have a law against that, so you can go over to England and get one of the fucking jump jets and ship that shit back over here. And as long as you know what you're doing, you can put that motherfucker back together. If you have your like jet pilot's license, you have all your right hours, you can fly that. Because they do take all the weapon systems off of it. So now it's just a super fast plane. It's really impractical, but also really cool.
That's probably why Whistling Diesel bought his tank from England. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Isn't he also getting his FL3 so that way he can actually fire that thing or something like that?
He's planning on being able to fire it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I have mixed feelings about Whistling Diesel.
Me too.
I mean, like he bitched about someone stealing what, like $5,000 worth of tools, and
yeah.
then destroys like a $250,000 car. You want to be
He's
like,
destroyed so many things that I enjoy.
I mean,
in
he
life.
just bought a Ferrari too, so
Yeah,
we'll
I
see
mean-
what has yet to come.
he already threw it around the field.
Yeah.
He's already like put a bubble around it and thrown ladders and hammers and wrenches and screwdrivers and everything else at it.
And like, okay, with the G-Wagon, like I was curious, like, okay, what can this take? Because everyone says they are super durable.
and it
It
actually
is
was.
super
Yeah.
durable.
No one has ever said Ferraris were durable. That has never been ever
He's just-
uttered in the history of car manufacturing. No one has ever said, hey, you know what's a reliable car manufacturer? Ferrari.
I think
never.
he's just trying to get Ferrari to sue him because they're known for doing that.
Yeah, they send cease and desists. Like, stop being a dickhead. That's all they would say is, hey, fuckface, stop being an asshole. Now, the ones they send to DDE about, like, stop putting a twin turbo on your F12, it was pretty much like, dude, you're gonna hurt yourself. And now DDE is just sitting there, like, bleeding money. Like, I've been watching their F12 build where they had Aaron Kaufman from the Gas Monkey do a top mount turbo system and build all this stuff. It was shoddy. I mean, it looked good. The intake manifolds looked good. The hardware looked good, but it ran like shit. So then they sent it to Gintani, and they got it running a little bit better. But like this thing is just, it's already a high compression V12. Like, you don't need to throw turbos on it.
But
Well, that's the thing is they're learning. You're getting to that point where like there comes a spot in YouTube where like, no, dude, you done fucked up. Like, this doesn't work. You're like, well, but what if we do it for the gram? I'm like, you do it for the gram, you're gonna have like a dead motor and a car with no body panels, and that's essentially what they have right now.
Yeah.
And they're just like, we don't know what we're gonna do next.
Well, the whole point of like social media and everything is just doing that crazy wacky shit that gets attention though, and that's all they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I like it still gets my eyes, but like I guess they've been spending so much money that it's the channel's damn near broke now.
Well, then I guess they need to decide whether or not to give up that project.
Well, what am I gonna do with it? What am I gonna do with an F12 motor that doesn't work? It's got a whole bunch of
the
fucking
best,
wear.
From what you're
And
telling
it
me,
won't be, it's not, Ferrari won't even service this motor. This whole car has been blacklisted. I can't take this to a Ferrari dealership and ever have them work on it ever. So, and for the clientele that buy those types of cars, no one's going to be interested in it. Like, they're going to lose their fucking ass.
Yeah, I mean, if it's getting to the point where the channel's almost broke and it's because they've been putting so much into that car, they just got to cut their losses. That's where they got to go.
I want it to work so bad, though. The exhaust is coming out the hood. Like, V12 shooting flames out the hood. Like, I just came so hard.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be cool. I'm just saying.
Exactly. I like cars way too much.
me too.
I mean, there was one night that you just brought up Ferrari and talked about it for like 45 minutes to an hour or two.
It's a unique car brand. I don't know what they're doing though. I haven't had a good indication on what they're doing since Enzo passed.
Because of like just the future of the company in general, or
He was just such a bull that he made decisions. He cared about the race team. That's all he cared about was the race team. He didn't give a fuck about the cars. He didn't give a shit about anything they sold. That's the only reason Lamborghini exists. He told Lamborghini to go pretty much fuck off.
He wanted to prove him wrong.
Yeah. And so if it wasn't for Enzo being like, up your ass, you wouldn't have Lamborghini. And if it wasn't for Enzo telling Ford to go fuck himself, you would have never had the GT40. Yeah. So, like, you know, as much as the guy's a dickhead, like, he was pivotal in that
community.
In that, yeah. Especially with Le Mans and Formula One. And then when he passed away, you know, you just wonder, okay, what are we doing here? You make, 10,000 cars a year? That's not that many. And, I mean, outside of, like, the Monza SP1 and the Monza SP2, I really haven't seen anything that's that exciting. And we also have to think with the way that, like, emissions and regulations are going in the EU, making these smaller and smaller and smaller engines, and I don't know how much longer brands like Lamborghini or Ferrari are going to last when your party piece is your V12. That's what makes your brand. And that's what we love about you. And we want to hear that naturally aspirated V12. We know we can get the same amount of power from a turbocharged 4-cylinder. We've seen Civics with 1,000 horsepower. That's not the point. The point is that sound, the feeling, everything that comes from it being bespoke.
Yeah. The luxury car that you're selling.
And I don't know if that's a brand that can last.
Well, I mean, you did tell me too, aren't they coming out with like electric vehicles as well?
Everybody is.
Hate to see it, to be honest, but
I mean, I feel like there should be brand exemptions. Like if you're Ferrari, you make 10,000 cars a year. No one cares if you make an electric car. No one's asking you to. If you feel so compelled to throw some electric motors in your car to compete and make it faster, well, so be it. You felt compelled to do so. But you are not a big enough hit in the overall bubble that I think that you like Lamborghini though. Lamborghini makes a fuckload of cars. Lamborghini's owned by Audi. They crank those sons of bitches out. There's no shortage of Lambos. So if Lamborghini wanted to maintain their F12, go back down to making less cars. Become a more bespoke manufacturer. Same way I feel about Koenigsegg and Pagani. Those manufacturers should be a little bit like Pagani makes, I think, like 7 cars a year.
Ooh.
Like, why? Each one of them are hand built. They're all completely bespoke. Like, it's down to the, like, I need to fly you over to Italy so I can measure you for your seats.
Damn.
You know, they're going to take all your measurements and everything, and you can do whatever you want. Like, Pagani will make you a car they don't even produce anymore if you want it.
Just because it's always handmade.
Yeah. So if you want this, they don't even make the Zonda anymore. But if you want a Zonda, they'll make you a Zonda.
You pay enough, they'll make you
Yeah,
whatever you
they'll
want.
make you a Zonda. Actually, cool thing about like Mercedes-Benz, if you ever, no matter what Mercedes-Benz model you have, no matter what year it is, no matter what the part is, they will have a replacement for you.
Damn, I didn't know that.
You could have a 1935 Mercedes-Benz, and if you can't find a part in the country, like anywhere in the world, they'll make it for you.
Damn.
I actually respect that
Yeah.
a lot. That's
That's saying something for the company in general.
Yeah,
most companies after they, we haven't made this model anymore. We don't care. Buy the new car.
exactly. They won't service the older ones. Like that's the one thing about Mercedes I truly love is that no matter what, hey, you got an old one, you want to keep it running? Hell yeah, we'll give you the part, no problem. I mean, you're gonna pay through the nose to have a one-off part.
Mhm.
But if you're willing, if it means that much to you to keep this thing alive, they're more than happy to do it for you. I think they're the only manufacturer that will do that.
Damn.
I can't imagine a whole lot of them are going to.
Mm-mm. But out of your like new car like people who are fun, ain't nobody doing what Toyota's doing.
No. Toyota's going nuts right now, from my understanding.
Their CEO, who also races cars, came out and said, "No more boring cars. I'm tired of boring cars." So the new Corolla GR has 3 cylinders, 300 horsepower,
Damn.
and it's all-wheel drive, and it only comes in a 6-speed. And it has a little knob that you can have 70% to the back or 70% to the front, or you can just be 50-50 both ways.
Damn.
The GR Supra, like when the Supra came out, it wasn't offered in a manual. Now, mind you, only 17% of the United States, I believe, knows how to drive a stick shift. So that's why they don't make them, because they're hard to sell. But when they released the new Supra, they did not have a manual variant for it. It was all paddles. And people were fucking pissed. And so now you can order a GR Supra. It's a little bit more expensive than just like a standard one. It's like, options package, but you can get a 6-speed.
Damn.
So they heard the community and they're like, no, like, yeah, we hear you. You're valid. Where most auto companies, they hear you and they're just like, fuck off. We don't care.
Just like with the new fucking Bronco and all that other short
Not
shit.
a fan.
Yeah, neither am I. But it's something to compete with Jeep.
Yeah,
all they
that's
wanted.
all they wanted. And honestly, like the Jeep Gladiator just hit Jeep way too hard, if you ask me.
I don't like the Gladiator either.
A lot of people have mixed opinions about it compared to the regular ass Jeeps.
I have a problem with Jeep just on their price point.
Yeah, they're expensive as fuck for what they are.
Yeah, you're just enough essential parts, and you're going to tell me you're $50,000? Like, I don't care. I mean, 9 times out of 10, most of these Jeeps aren't going to see anything than a pavement.
No.
The
That's
biggest
all they're
lump they're
see.
going to go over is a curb. So I don't need Fox suspension, this, that, and the other. Like, if you have like some like with the what was the Ford Raptor?
Yeah.
Like, if you have a Jeep that wants to be like the crazy off-road version, dope. But make it as a limited one because no one really needs that.
They just want the look of the Jeep. That's all they want.
It looks cool. I can't stand to wave to that many people.
No.
I don't want to just be constantly like, hey, 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 hey.
The one that gets me is the whole the rubber duckies with Jeeps.
What the? Yeah, what is
So
that?
what they
Yeah.
do is So Jeep people who see another Jeep that they like, they will take a rubber ducky and they put it on their Jeep and being like, hey, I like the build guy, like I like your build. Well, I have seen just standard base model ass Jeeps sitting in the Walmart parking lot with fucking ducks in the window. Like they display them and it's like, you fucking bought those. There's no way that anybody thought, man, that looks sweet.
No, there's no one like with your stock Jeep. No, because I know Jeep people. I don't even think real Jeep people like new Jeeps.
No, I don't think they do.
I think they're all CJ.
Because, like, when I think of Jeep, I don't think of this shit that they drive on the road or anything. I think of my uncle's old Jeep that he actually bought specifically for trail riding. And that's what we did with it.
I mean, my aunt had a Jeep. We still have it up at the cabin in Michigan. But there wasn't a radio. The seats were waterproof. There's holes in the floorboards just so water could run out because it was a soft top and it was like, well, it's probably gonna leak. Or if you have the top off, you need stuff to get through. It was very well thought out. It wasn't comfortable.
No.
But they understood what you were doing with it.
Yeah.
But also now all the new Jeeps aren't comfortable and they
Well,
give all this luxury shit.
They're being truckified.
Yeah.
It's the same thing that happened with pickup trucks. But the
they
thing
can't
is
do what any pickup truck does either.
It doesn't
barely
matter.
pull a boat with them.
Because think about half the people with pickup trucks. They're not doing pickup truck shit.
Pickup
That's
trucks
true.
are family vehicles now and it drives me
Yep.
nuts. I hate it.
It's a
Sick.
bunch of people. It's a bunch of guys who are too afraid to drive a Honda Odyssey. Get over it. That Honda Odyssey is fast.
The Honda Odyssey can carry your kids safely.
Yeah, and it's fast. I'm sorry. I drove from Piqua, Ohio exit to Bowling Green exit. I made it in 45 minutes.
Damn.
My average
Holy
speed was
shit.
105, 107 miles an hour, I believe. I was following a Honda Odyssey most of the way. They will book it. They're fast.
Well, that and
But they're just a minivan, and you feel douchey for. I've always said the scariest thing on the highway is like a middle-aged man in a Honda Odyssey. He is moving.
I mean, it's business.
That is so true.
He ain't scared of nothing.
Nah, the kids ain't even saying a word. I have like a 37-inch TV that folds down in the back, and they're
They're
just
not paying
watching that.
attention.
Yeah, like Paw Patrol's on, and I'm just sitting with the VTEC.
It's
My
like
wife's bitching at me for every person I pass.
Nah, she's already asleep. It's such a smooth ride in that nice there
it's like
Honda.
all the dads when they drive a new vehicle, I swear they're like, man, I didn't realize I was going so fast. It's so smooth. Like they do it every damn time.
Well, actually, my mom did that when she drove my car for the first time. She was going to the gas station, it was a mile and a half away. She got back after taking my car, and she goes, I was going 80 and didn't even realize it.
That happened to me. This is my fourth car. I had an 04 545i, and it's V8, 6-speed, and I was just kind of getting on the highway, coming on ramp, shift through gears, and I was like, all right, I think I'm going to go all right, but I was just passing people. I looked down, I was doing 130 mile an hour. I was like, I thought I was doing 80.
But a little fast.
Yeah,
Just a little bit.
And that's when like, all right, that's what happens with these German cars. It's like they get you a little bit because like they're used to Autobahn speeds. That's what they're built for. So you're like, I've told everyone, I was like, that BMW, I could do 130, 140 miles an hour. My passenger would not even know. The passenger in the car when I was doing that had not a clue. When I was like, whoa, we're going a little fast. She's like, well, how fast are we going? I was like, 130. And she about shit her pants. I was like, no, it's fine. We're slowing down. I didn't realize I was going that fast. Same way with crotch rockets. Like, you think it's crazy about how, like, people are like, you're on a motorcycle doing 160 miles an hour. Like, it just happens so fast. You get from 60 to 160 quicker than you could do.
They weigh nothing.
Yeah.
So
If you're on a leader bike, you could do 100 in first gear. You don't ever have to leave the first gear to do the speed limit. You could be on the highway at 65, 70 miles an hour in the first gear. It might be revving a little high, but the fact that like, what are the other four for? If I'm going down one and up 4, what are the rest of those ones up there for? Just felonies.
Just felonies. They're back to felonies.
It's like how many? That's what I call like leader bikes. It's just a felony machine.
It's all a lot of motorcycles.
Like
are,
just
though.
don't put a license plate on it and don't stop.
At one point, I was on the side of TikTok where I just seen constant videos of people just like, it was either a video of someone getting pulled over on a crotch rocket because they did nothing wrong and the cop was just a douche, or it was the exact opposite, where they were just fucking doing stupid shit and they would bolt and there's nothing the cop could do about it. Because they can lane split and fucking do whatever they want.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever has anyone here ever driven like raced away from the cops?
I've hidden, but I have never raced away.
No.
There might be something back in the far reach of my mind that I just can't remember, but
It's so much fun. It definitely would not be the same now with how like society is and how cops are. But like when I was in high school, it was high school and early college. It was like very much like you could get pulled over and they'd still be like, they would almost understand it was a cat and mouse game. Like now I feel like they'd probably just shoot your ass.
Yeah.
But like every time that I've ever done it, like I was coming back from Tennessee driving north and I was going through Kentucky. I was doing like 130 mile an hour. I had an Eclipse at the time and it was rattling a little bit, but we're like, fuck it. Let's have some fun. And I blow past two Kentucky State Highway patrolmen and they're sitting in the median. Well, fuck. Only thing I can think is, I'm about 25 miles to the Ohio state line, and he's got to pull out and go from 0 to as fast as I'm going. So we're just going to push this throttle a little bit farther down and see how much distance we can create. And that was in broad daylight. But if it was like, if you had a good moon night, if you had a full moon and you blew past, turn off lights, cut the lights, go.
Well, I know. I used to work for a company. I used to travel a lot, and one time I drove to Minnesota by myself. And driving back, I left at midnight. Like I was just done being there. I've been there for 2 weeks. I wanted to get home, so we got off work the day before, like at 4:30. I was told my coworkers, I'm just gonna get some McDonald's. I'm gonna go back to the hotel. I'm going to bed. Whenever I wake up, I'm going home. So I got up at like 11:30. I was like, all right, I'm gonna shave, shower, pack my shit. I'm leaving. I think I didn't go any slower than 110. And I think I passed like 4 or 5 cops the entire way there. And I don't think I've seen a single one of them pull out because it was 3 o'clock in the morning. The only other people on the highway was truckers. And there was like 3 of them.
The big thing's lane discipline. Like, if the United States really taught that in driver's ed, that would change how we drive.
mm-hmm.
You need to understand, like, if you're in the left lane, that's a passing lane. If you're in the
I don't
right
get
lane,
why people don't understand that.
yeah, and it's one thing, like, hey, if you see someone right on your tail, you go, oh shit, I don't know how long you've been there. Just find the quickest way that you can get to the left. The safest, quickest way you can get there so they can get around you. But like, anytime you get into a left lane, you need to look back and see, okay, how fast is this traffic moving?
Yeah.
And will I need to speed up way above? Like, that's why I don't like speed limits. It's because, well, I don't want to break the speed limit because I don't want to get pulled over. Well, everyone else is. So you
either
have to
I'm-
run that speed.
I'm either impeding traffic or I'm speeding.
Yeah. I'm either going to cause an accident because I'm not going 90 mile an hour. I'm trying to do 70. And I want to pass a semi who's legally doing 65. So I hop over here doing 70, but I got someone who's coming up on me doing 90. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what if we just got rid of those speed limits and just said, hey, make it understood that if you're in this side, you better fucking go. But then
Yeah.
we would also have to have, like, probably a lot more rigorous vehicle checks on people's cars. And I think that would piss a lot of people off too. And like, well, mine doesn't meet emissions and mine doesn't meet this. And, they'd make us do all that.
The area
Yeah.
we live in, the amount of rust vehicles see is kind of, a little sketchy every once in a while.
I got a Civic I'm working on right now. It's got a lot of rust on it. It's a 1997. I love it.
I really wish I didn't live in the Rust Belt.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Because everything, you can't park anything outside and expect it to ever be good. So anytime you see, I'm a big fan of the second gen MR2s. and I'm like, oh, I see them for like 8-9 grand here and there. And I see them also ascending in value. So I'm like, right now is a great time to buy. I don't have a fucking garage. So if I buy it, it's just going to sit outside and rot. Even if I do like put a car cover over it and whatever, it doesn't matter. There's still too much moisture that's going to come under the body. It's like, makes life hard as a car guy around here.
Yeah. Why do you think most of the car groups are like in California and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah. Which ultimately I feel bad for those Californians, because that is where cruise culture kind of started, and that's
also where
place
the
that's
big
killing it.
Yeah. Big emissions, and don't have this, that, and the other thing on your car. And
They got some great driving roads out in the canyons too, though. That's another thing. It's like, I'm sure you guys have been on Tennessee and Kentucky,
Yeah.
and you see all those crazy windy roads, and you're like, man, if I was on like a dirt bike or a sport bike or like a good sport car, you're like, whoa, man, this would be a lot of fun. Same thing in like Cali and in Colorado. You get up in those mountains and you're just like, oh boy. Like you get little happy feet. You're like, oh, we're going fast now. We're going to hit on the apexes. This is like Gran Turismo in real life.
that, and you can't have anything else in that tank.
Yeah, they like to kill.
Kind of their thing.
They're bloody bastards.
It's kind of my thing, you know.
It
I
is a-
paint the shoe gold. It's kind of my thing, you know.
What a fucking movie.
How about now?
Dude, I met an older dude who had never seen fucking Forrest Gump. Dude was in his like.
Well, you're kind of bringing that up with the wrong crowd here.
Yeah, these two haven't seen Forrest Gump.
I've seen Forrest Gump.
He hasn't seen
I've
Forrest
seen
Gump.
parts of it, but
I thought you hadn't seen it.
No, I've
Never
seen
the
Forrest
full
Gump
movie.
What?
multiple
Why?
times.
Why?
nowadays I'm not a movie guy, so at this point, like,
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, you don't
fact
have to
that
be.
all people like short form content anymore the way it seems, but
I mean, yeah, but
Still, Forrest Gump is a
it's
classic.
Forrest fucking Gump, my guy.
I swear there's two different
Hey,
group
Brady.
of people out here. One of them, when I tell them that, they react like you do, like, why have you never seen it? And then the other group is like, oh yeah, me neither. Either haven't
Well,
seen it or you love it.
It was because it was on. Like, how old are you?
I am 23.
Okay, that might explain it. Because there was a period in my youth where it did not matter if you turn on TNT or TBS, Forrest Gump was on. If it was Sunday, like you couldn't avoid it, and because it was on TV, it lasted like 3.5, 4 hours because it's already a long movie. So you
Yeah.
would take a nap halfway through, wake up, like, oh, Forrest Gump's on. So like you would eventually always watch the whole fucking movie.
Right.
Same thing happened with Saving Private Ryan. It was always on TBS or TNT, and like even if you didn't want to see it, you were kind of like
Forced
subjected to it because it was the only thing that was on. But like if you were around, like if you're 50 years old and you haven't seen Forrest Gump, like it was huge in the theaters, and this is when movie theaters was big. Like, what were you doing with yourself?
Right.
Did you not take yourself out for a nice evening at the theater? Like, what? Come on.
Gotta see Forrest Gump.
Dude, I want to go to Grand Rapids to see Oppenheimer because they have a IMAX projector.
Damn.
Oh.
So they have the whole thing on actual IMAX 70mm film.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're one of the, I think, 7 places in the United States that has it. And I saw it in Salina at what's the theater called? Shout out to them. And it's not an AMC.
Boy, I can't even think what it is.
It's I don't know what company it
But,
is.
but shout out to like Salina Movie Theater for like whoever bought that shit for like
Oh
redoing
my god, it was
redoing
so
the
bad.
seats, redoing. Yeah, oh my god, yeah, they did
It is
amazing.
so nice now. I think me and Aaron went to go see this new Spider-Man movie there. I about took a nap in that recliner.
Dude, I grew up going to the movie theater. It was one of the things me and my dad did all the time, and we went to Salinas a lot as well. Like we'd go in Piqua, or we might hit some shit in Greenville, but Salinas was like one that we did, and I remember it being rickety and not that great. And now it's like, it's still a small theater, but these are big theater chairs.
Yeah.
The only reason I enjoyed that was you could go watch a movie pretty much any time and not have to worry about it being fucking packed the entire time
Yeah, that's true.
because no one else wanted to be there either.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
Well, I
you're
think-
not wrong.
I think it was like 2 weeks after Suicide Squad.
It was less than 2 weeks.
It was like whatever it was. Suicide Squad hit theaters, and I wanted to go see it, and I wanted to pre-run it for a date, and so I brought him along with me. It was me and him, and like what was it, 5 teenagers in that theater. That was it.
One guy showed up late, even like he showed up after the first 15 minutes of the movie.
There was
Yeah.
no one in
We
there.
could have sat wherever we wanted. I mean,
Well, it's weird now because they make you like pick your seat.
Yeah,
I think that might be like a COVID hangover or whatever. But like, and it's just like, oh, I want to sit here. And it's cool because you can also see where other people have picked a seat, so you
you can
picked a
avoid them.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm just glad it's updated.
Yes, very much so.
I didn't actually know they did that. So
Yeah, they did that a couple years ago. It's really really nice now, like super nice. Like
I remember seeing
watch a
the
movie
the
there.
paint chipping off the ceiling and
That's
probably
still,
lead paint.
It's still there.
That's still there.
Oh, okay.
It's just the sheets are renewed, the carpets are actually clean. The
Screens are new. The projectors are new. The lights are new.
yeah,
Screens, projectors. I honestly, I think they might have repainted it as well.
yeah, but you can still see
Yeah,
some of those chips and stuff. In the
Yeah,
ceiling, obviously.
yeah. It's not perfect, but it is by and large way better.
whole lot better.
And it's still not that bad. Like Tuesdays is their bargain day. I think it's like $5.50 to go see a movie.
Damn, that's not bad at all.
No, like you can go in there and get like a feature at night for $5.50.
I don't think it costs us much more than like $7 to get in there on a Saturday either.
It's $8.50.
$8.50.
Which still,
Not a whole lot, but still, yeah. I like the fact that they throw in like, because I remember that as a kid, like matinees were always like a little bit cheaper. If you went during the day, it was a little bit cheaper than if you went during the night.
Yeah,
You know, because it was a night event. Like I remember movies being an event. Like it
They
was a
weren't.
thing people
Right.
did.
for the longest time.
And now it's not. Like the same way as like video game releases, those were a thing people did.
Now anymore, that's just kind of
Yeah,
a
I'll just
prepay.
download it and hopefully I can get the VPN so I can download it on Australian time so I can get it before everyone else.
Yeah,
I knew
Yeah.
a couple guys.
yeah. No, a couple.
They would
guys
also
as well.
skip school to play the new game on the first day. So
And it would be the day before because they would have their Xbox or PlayStation set to Australia's time.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember actually waiting outside of the Lima Mall. I got there at 6 p.m. and Halo 3 didn't come out till midnight.
Damn.
And I sat there and I was waiting for my legendary package. I was like, I'm going to be first in fucking line. I'm going to get this shit and we're going to go home and we're going to play. Like the weird thing was is like I had a game the next day. Next day was fucking Friday. When I remember like my coach being like, "You son of a bitch." I'm like, dude, Halo's life.
nowadays, when you get a new game, you gotta fucking like download the update and download the actual game itself. Even nowadays, the disc doesn't mean shit.
It's just
But-
basically a game key. That's
Yeah,
all the disc is.
Which is really upsetting because like I'm a big fan of having like I have the physical copy.
I'm the same way.
Like that's why I like records. It's like, no, I can play this. This is my physical Spotify can't take this away from me.
Spotify can't die and I get my music taken away.
Exactly. And I don't want to play a game that just can like, oh, it's on the cloud and now it's just gone. Now you can't play it no more. Like what the fuck?
I can go back and play all my PlayStation 2 games whenever I want, and I love that.
You can go get brand new PlayStation 2 games and don't have to worry about any of the updates or anything like that because they didn't have it.
Yeah, just
Dude, does anyone remember Gex?
Gex.
I know of it, but that's
I don't
about
know,
it.
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Oh my god, this is showing my age. Like he's like, no, I know of it. He's like, nah, yeah, that shit's old as fuck. Essentially, it was a gecko who watched a lot of TV and got sucked in, but he was like detective style,
Okay.
and it was video games back in the day were weird, man.
There's not
Back in the day when they could make a video game about fucking anything, and it would like you would play it and
Yeah.
have fun.
We had
Didn't
a
have to be a
wrapping
big
paper
title.
mache. We had wrapping paper mache, and it was like a 3 series game, and we loved it.
Even like video games based off of movies back in the day. Like
The South Park one did well.
Oh, very
Those
well.
did, but like the SpongeBob movie video game that did really well. The B movie video game actually did surprisingly well for what it
B
was.
probably for the
video
memes,
game.
but you know,
Yeah,
I did play that as a kid.
It's weird. It's like, oh, the B movie. I was a kid. I was like,
you're like I was in college.
Or how
stoned out
old
of my
are you?
mind.
I never
I'm 33.
so exactly 10 years older than me.
Yeah. When we were
Whole
watching,
fucking decade.
so when we were watching the B movie, he was like in college and was high as shit. Have you guys seen this movie about the talking bee?
No, we were all like Planet Earth.
I
You
uh,
guys ever taken mushrooms and watched Planet Earth? And that's all it was. David Attenborough was our savior.
Oh,
I was
my.
born after Y2K, so like
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
remember, like, hey, dude, Y2K was dope. It was like the millennium, like the turning of the millennium. I think is one of the coolest things I got to be a part of. Like, there are so few people on Earth that will ever get to see it like that, like a millennium change, and I got to be there. And like, dude, everyone was selling Millennium merchandise. Everything was like silvery and like chromy and like space agey.
into the future. you know?
Yeah, it was, and like there's this weird fear, and except for this excitement, and we didn't know if the nukes were gonna go off. Like it was fucking.
It's still weird to me to see stuff about it and like all the stuff people worried about. Like now that we know obviously nothing happened and think back at it, it's like, man, that's kind of stupid. But at the time, you know,
Well, yeah, because we were like, well, all of these dates only have one digit or two digits. So like if it goes zero, they're just saying zero. What will they process? How will they think?
planes are gonna fall out of the sky.
Yeah,
and-
like that's what we thought. And like as soon as like we saw Australia and everybody else, like, yeah, all right, everything's fine. Then like everything deflated, but like when the ball dropped, it was the coolest ball. I haven't seen a cooler ball since 2000.
I was roughly a month late for being able to be born in the 90s, so
Yeah,
I
was,
technically saw the millennium, but
yeah, I don't remember it.
no, I was only 4 months old.
I was playing Monopoly, Millennium version, the night of the Millennium, and then we went to the hospital because my mom was having, I think, her gallbladder removed. I think.
What a hell of a way to enter the millennium.
Well, yeah, I remember she was, because we watched England shoot off their New Year's fireworks from her hospital room.
Okay.
And so I remember being there, but I remember like before that we had bought the Millennium Anniversary Edition of Monopoly with all the cash was like holographic. Like everything like that the holographic Pokemon cards, yeah, you're welcome. It was the Millennium.
Seriously.
Like it was all this like crazy, everything had to look like an oil slick on the pavement.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
And that's why we had like there's the Mitsubishi Eclipse commercial had a Daft Punk soundtrack behind it.
Seriously.
Not lying, dude. Like everything was so futuristic. It was like the Jetsons met the real world. We
Damn.
were so blown away about like, oh, we're starting a new millennium. Like it means a lot to those people who weren't who were there for the previous one.
Okay.
Is like, because I can say like honestly, like shit in the early 90s is just fucking awesome. Like it beat the millennium, but we were also excited because things had changed so much. Like I grew up and I had seen landlines and pagers and the internet and then cell phones and Y2K and this, you're kind of just like, holy, it just came so fast.
And now everything seems to slow down, sort of.
It's just it's what it is.
So, anyways, Brady,
Any horror.
any horror?
So I may have bought myself a major project at this point. Just picked it up today.
This is
All right.
other
don't-
BGTJFF from the
I
other
don't know
B.
if Steve knows, but I like firearms. So does Brennan. We're all kind of
I'm a big fan.
I don't think you're probably as big of a fan of this as you think you might be. But,
Okay.
So I collect firearms from a company called Harrington Richardson. They're actually out of business now, but they've been making guns since the 1800s.
Okay.
I say major project. I mean,
Oh wow, that's dope.
is
Is that a 22?
It is.
Oh, nice.
It was in a flood, so it is.
Shit.
But it's
Oh
a
my,
great
god,
barrel.
god, dude, that's a great break hack. That's nice.
I wanted a break barrel revolver for the longest time, and this one was cheap. You know, usually like this model is like $500 or $600, which is way more than I want to spend on a 22 revolver.
Yeah, I get that.
So I bought this one, you know, a project. But everything so far, I picked it up like a half an hour before I came here. So I ordered it offline. But the everything so far as I can tell, functions. It just looks really tough.
I was gonna say, it looks like you got some sanding and
It's got
Cleaning to do?
It had to have sat in a flood a long time
Well,
because
well,
it's
do you
definitely got some issues.
Do you think like the what's the shit they clean jewelry with?
oh shit,
The supersonic
Whatever,
bath,
like
The
bath
ultrasonic
things?
cleaners.
the ultrasonic. Do you think that like if you did it in a solution that was that could help with the oxidation, do you think that would do it best?
So I've actually seen
He's got experience with this, so
firearms and stores do something similar to
pass it
that.
around.
So he probably could.
it's really tough to open. So I don't know if you want to mess with it too much. but-
Obviously, having some experience with that is a good thing,
Here, hold on.
and not just
Yeah, I was
rushing
gonna
into
say that's
something that'll harm it.
tough.
I mean, I guess like my whole thought is if you get one for cheap enough, you get a firearm for cheap enough, and you get your other tools and resources for a low enough amount. Wow, that is rough.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
the guy at
Christ.
the gun shop would like got to the point where it was like, if all those fails, you could always just chop off the last inch of the barrel. Like that was his thought process on it. It's pretty tough.
Wow.
If this puts it in perspective, it actually went on auction one time. Nobody bid on it, and then I bid it on it the second time.
Well, I mean, like at least the handle's not bad.
Yeah, for a
Well,
wood
the
grip,
barrel,
it's
or
not
not the barrel,
rotten.
but the
Cylinder.
Cylinder moves.
Thank you. Cylinder moves, and it moves smooth. It doesn't feel rough.
There is certain parts of it that are technically like not needed that are issues. Like it's supposed to have an ejector that ejects all 9 shells when you open it.
Mm-hmm.
That does not function at the moment. I don't know anything about that. It also does not appear to want to work in double action, but I would prefer to shoot it in single action anyways.
See, I got made fun of for my first gun, which is a 22 revolver.
I love them. I've got several.
He collects 22s.
They're great. They're fun. You can shoot them all the time, and you don't have to hate yourself for shooting them.
Not $1 a shot like some
Yeah.
of these guns are.
And I bought it, and it was like, oh, what was it? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. It's like an American Heritage Rough Rider.
Heritage Rough Rider.
Yeah,
He's
there
got
you go.
2 of them. So
Yeah, and, it's a little shit gun or whatever.
I've
Pretty
always
much.
wanted one. I have a Ruger Wrangler, which is just Ruger's version of the same thing.
Yeah, and it's fine. It's good for blinking cans. But when I had a bunch of friends who were like really big gun people, and they're like, "Oh, come on, man, what the fuck did you get that for? You can't even kill a man
I
with
hate
that."
the type
And I
of
was
people-
like, one, I believe I can kill a man with that, and two, that's not why the fuck I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought it to shoot cans. And just have like a good old little like time going, pacoo, 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 and it's cheap.
Yeah.
It's the same. I was like, I have an obsession with like these small like the pistol caliber carbines,
Mm.
because
Those are
I
neat.
feel like it's just a cheap way to shoot and have fun. Like, yeah, I love 223s and 5.56, and I love like my favorite rifle is an M1 Grand. My
Mm.
uncle has one from 44, 43. I saw a little bit of service, and that was the best rifle I've ever shot in my entire life. Like, I like honestly, I'm not a big fan of shooting AR-15s. I don't like the spring compressed. I like, because what's the M1? Was that 30-06?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I remember shooting it and be like, it gave a little punch in the shoulder, but it wasn't excessive. It was just enough to say like, yo, hey, I'm here. And then everything shot true. And it was like, okay, this feels good. It's heavier. I could see why I wouldn't want this in the field. You know, this would be terrible to carry around, but just as pure enjoyment for shooting, I really don't like the AR platform.
No, it's not that much fun to shoot.
That's part of the problem with the community is that they think, well, if you're involved, you have to like all guns. Well, it's like, you can have your own little niche, and if you really enjoy, like I enjoy old military guns, what I like, and I can have fun doing that. He likes his 22s. He likes that. He can have fun.
I also
collecting
enjoy the
those.
old military guns,
Well,
but
like I collect them.
I have to do some
that's where I get
research.
my joy out of.
this
but-
might be the oldest firearm I own now. I'm not sure. I know one of mine is like late 40s, but this one might be the 30s. So
See, I'm trying to get my hands on a Mauser. They're not. Yeah,
I
and
own
like 1,000 of
4.
them. Yeah, because they're not hard to get your hands on. That's why I would like, let's start there. I know they're available. They're out there.
there's a lot of different variations.
Yeah.
I would look for like a Yugoslavian one or a Turkish one. You can get those cheaper.
And the same with like the M1 Garand. Like it was like, oh, do you want like the? I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it's the actual Garand. I'll take an M1A1.
Yeah.
It's
My
the
dad's
same
got
fucking
one.
rifle.
I've also got a Mini 14. Haven't shot it yet, but
See, I mean, there's also what was it? Someone just made a really good semi-automatic shotgun, and in the way that like I gotta remember the brand of it.
is it Beretta?
Mm-mm,
Oh.
mm-mm. It's a very small manufacturer. It's like a $2,700 shotgun, but the review of it, the guy ran shit shotgun shells through it on purpose, and it cycled them. Had no problems. He's like, I'm gonna run as low powder as I can just to see if this thing will jam, and never jammed. And that's all I want is I want a semi-automatic 12 gauge. I just want as close as I can get to an AA-12. And the fact that I learned what switches are, I think I might be able to get there.
I don't know. I'm a big cowboy gun guy, but I don't have much of a collection in that.
Cowboy gun right there.
Yeah, I know.
I like how he's the only one who was like switches. I know what he's talking about.
I have no idea what you're
And
talking
you're
about.
not going to comment on it
mean,
because
feel
you're
free to
like,
explain
oh
it to
no,
me, 'cause,
that.
I don't know what you're even talking
I mean,
about.
the floor
to be
is
honest.
yours, Steve. Like I always like have to explain my stuff. to
Do
them
you
or
know what
not,
switches
like-
are?
I have no idea what switches are.
Do you know
when
what a
it comes to
switch
guns.
is? Do you?
I'm familiar with them, but like not like entirely.
They're like super popular in the Glock community because I guess I'm no gunsmith. So on the recoil on how it works, I guess there's like a tab, and this switch slides in the back, so it just holds it open, so you can just hold the trigger, and your semi-automatic
okay.
Glock goes to a full auto Glock. And now they've made them also for AR platforms. And if you're gonna make it for an AR platform, the semi-auto shotgun I'm looking for is based off of an AR-10 platform. So I mean, like switches and like blah 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 blah.
For legal reasons, that's a joke. But you know,
No,
whatever.
like ATF would be so mad. They'd be like, "Why?" And I'd be like, "Cause it's fun."
I'm not out to kill anybody. I just
And
want
they'd
to
be
be able to
like,
have
"But
a
we're
good
gonna
time."
take that from you now." I'm like, but why? Like the ATF is just like your mean mom.
Yeah.
Like when you build something cool, she's like, "You can't have that no more."
And then you find that cool new thing, and then she makes new rules up so that you can't use that either.
Exactly.
That's
She's
what's
like,
going
don't you make it like one thing that gets me the most is suppressors.
Oh,
I don't get it either.
I think everyone should be able to have a suppressor. Because like one, I know tons of people who love shooting, but I know tons of people who hate how loud shooting is. So why wouldn't I want everyone to have a suppressor? Also, it decreases like what velocity and range. It makes the weapon less effective, except for it's quiet now. It's not completely
Quieter.
silent.
Yeah, they're worried about people being able to like
Well-
shoot other people and no one ever notice.
Oh,
and-
you fucking
But, okay,
notice.
You do realize the thing is, why that is because everybody in like the video game, movies, whatever fucking shit, they all call them silencers. They're not a silencer. That's not what they are.
On the original patent, they actually are called silencers. So
Well, I mean, it makes shit a little bit quieter.
They're actually-
you can't deny that. You're like, hey, yeah, if I'm trying to pop a motherfucker in a house with a 22 and I throw a suppressor on it, it's gonna be a little quiet.
yeah.
they the one that everybody points to in like pop culture that people like it misrepresents the suppressor is there's a scene from one of the John Wicks where they're literally walking in public. John Wick is down below and somebody's walking on a balcony and they're shooting back and forth and nobody in public is noticing this.
What?
Yeah, they would notice.
Like they're like John Wick is like holding his gun like in his jacket and like shooting up at this guy and they're like hitting pillars and stuff and nobody is.
Imagine how hard Terran Tactical's dick got then. You know, Terran was like, I'm gonna make so much fucking money.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Terran Tactical's like weapons are that superior. That's where I started to get into like, I know CNC machining. I know what you're doing is just machining metal. So anyone can do this so long as I know the parameters and I have the equipment. So what makes this, $5,000, 1911 a $5,000 1911? They say, oh, it's the materials, it's this, it's that. No, it's because it's a fucking Terran, whatever. And it's got all the cutouts on it, and it was in a movie, and
Yeah.
I will admit I do have a $1,700 1911 on order right now, but
is it from Terran?
no,
From
it's actually Stealth Arms. They're actually made
Platypus.
very local. So,
See, I've thought about getting into firearms manufacturing just because I know CNC work. But it's mostly like I don't. As far as in making anything, I know this is going to sound like real shit if anyone hears it. But has anyone here read the Communist Manifesto?
Oh no.
I have not.
no,
It's real short. It's real short. The best point Karl Marx ever made was that the problem with capitalism is that it increases volume of sale. So, like, I worked for Cap. I made steering knuckles. And I didn't give a fuck if they were good or not.
Yeah.
I just
You
made
just
them.
wanted to make your money and go home.
Exactly. He's like, it changes when you go through the whole product. So, like, let's say we all built chairs. You build we build rocking chairs. You build the rockers. You build the legs. You build the seat. I build the back. We don't ever get to see the finished product come together. At the end of the day, when you get to see your finished product come together, the worker or the laborer gets to feel some honor.
there's some pride in that.
Exactly. So, like, I mean, as much as we all want to hate on it, like, the dude wasn't stupid.
No, I'm not
Like,
saying
there is something there.
It's pretty much from anything. You can pretty much always take something of sense out of what someone says, even if the grand picture of what they're saying is not right.
I think most people hate Karl Marx just because every single time communism came into an actual government, it turned into a dictatorship.
I mean, what do you think we're rocking under now?
Yeah, I know.
Welcome to oligarchy.
It's dictatorship, but with
We're
different
a
name.
step away, and
know.
we're just sitting in oligarchy. And everyone likes to shit on communism because it killed so many people, but how many people has capitalism killed?
A lot.
I love my iPhone, but I know the factory that makes it, motherfuckers jump out the windows and try to kill themselves. That's why I have suicide nets around it.
Yeah.
So it's like there's suffering no matter what. We haven't figured out a good enough system to negate suffering.
We never will.
Well, I don't like to think that. I like to think that we have the ability and the thought process and the mental power to make equity among man. We just have to figure out how to navigate greed.
So I guess I should rephrase what I said by we never will. Is we would have to tear down society to bare bones, and how many people are going to let that to happen in order to get something like that?
No one needs to let it happen. It'll just happen whether they like it to or not. I mean, what do you think is going on right now?
True.
It's either going to collapse or it won't. You see China right now with their one-child policy is fucking them up. They don't have enough people to continue their production models. Also, Chinese labor right now is equal to that of Mexican labor.
I mean, there's
And
people literally
cost?
lining up the door outside the door, waiting for people to die in China so they can take their job, or
Yeah,
get injured on the job so they can take their job.
There's no money, and the mortgages, they're three generations. So if you were to take a mortgage, not only do you have to pay it, your kids have to pay it, and your grandkids have to pay it.
Damn.
That's how deep these mortgages
Shit.
are going because they don't have enough people. They don't, and as manufacturing comes back to the United States, we're kind of reversing NAFTA, and they don't have the same power that they used to. And it's just, we like Mexico's a super great labor force. Like I think Central, North, and like Mexico, like the United States and Canada, are strategically poised to like be very successful within the next 25 years.
Okay.
Because you have a lot of people from from South America who are going to want to come up. Traditionally, people like first generation immigrants are a cost, but second generation immigrants are a benefit. Because first generation usually is like doing menial labor jobs, but their kids seem to be the ones who start businesses and really spur innovation.
Okay.
So like we're not like China, where China is a homologated society. So like if you and I were to move to China, get our green cards, be full Chinese, they would still not accept us, right?
Yes.
Whereas like no matter who you are, if you come to the United States, even if you're a tourist, can I really tell if you belong here or not?
No, because we're the mixing pot.
Exactly.
Like,
That's our fucking benefit is that like people still want to come here. People don't want to go other places. People still want to come here, and we're bringing manufacturing here, and like, yo, just come get it. Like we're about to be a whole new resurgence if we don't fuck it up.
The main thing I think too is like out in like Central America. How populated is Central America?
Super light. Although I think I
Yeah.
might move to Belize because Belize looks sexy as fuck.
But like,
I might McAfee that shit.
because I know I've heard, I don't know if they're true or not. There's a lot of like cities and states out in the middle of Central America that are actually like helping people build businesses and farms and buy land, move out there and start building a community.
I mean, the same thing's happening in Kenya. Did you hear what their prime minister just said?
No.
He is urging for a no visa pass so that you don't even need a visa, that anyone on earth
Can move
could
in
fly.
and start working.
No, not move in, but could fly and visit. You don't need to just check in. You can fly. It's fine. You can stay here as long as you want because he says that, and he's not wrong, all of human civilization came from Kenya. Through all of our evidence we have, that's where we came from.
Okay.
And he's like, well, how rude would it be to tell someone that they can't come home?
Okay. That
And I'm
makes
like,
sense.
you know what? Yeah, you got a point. Like, that's right. We should be able to all go home and see where we all came from. And for them, it changes from a $2 million a year in tourism hike to 20.
Boost them significantly.
And we all get to see where we all came from.
That's kind of cool.
Because we all are like from that little Mesopotamian little shit spot.
Well, I mean, how many religions are based in like Middle East and how many religions are there based in like India that came from India that's close to the Middle East and all that sort of stuff?
Talk about the Jews.
Well, no, but think about it. Because honestly, like how many people are fighting for Islam,
Shalom.
Shalom, or whatever?
How long are we going here, Alex?
I don't know. How long you guys want to go?
I mean,
This is already kind of a pretty long episode, I think.
That is true. You want to keep doing guys, or do you want to call her? Or?
Man, I think this is kind of like about where we went with
Oh, you got mad
True
because I said you
DW.
wanted to talk about the Jew.
I hate the Jews.
Oh shit! He's like, I ain't afraid to say it. I'll
I
tell
mean,
you
who
right
here
now.
doesn't hate the
I'm
Jews?
here for America. America first, right now. We should sell crack in America to support the Contras.
Yes.
'Cause I'm goddamn tired of these goddamn communists in South America.
Damn right.
Yeah, hell yeah, brother.
No, it's
Huh?
we normally try to keep for like an hour and a half episodes, and we're almost reaching 2 hours.
For real?
Well, I mean, we had a 7-minute break, so we
Which,
were at it
Even
like
with that,
an
we
hour
are
40.
over. So
I mean, it's not hard.
It's a lot
No,
shorter.
it's really
it
not
feels a
hard.
lot shorter when you're in the moment.
It
yeah,
does.
you're right. You're right.
When in our first live stream, we went for 4 hours and we were like, "Holy shit, that was nothing."
Yeah, it is really weird doing podcasts because everyone's like, "All right, now it's time to stop talking," and you're like, "Okay, I guess that's how therapy works too."
I mean, pretty much.
And you're out of time.
They just stop you. They're just
Well,
well,
I
this
know
has
you're in
been a
the middle
good
of things, but
session.
that's your-
We'll pick back up."
I mean, that's your hour. So I mean, I'm sorry. We'll
And
pick
you
up
have to
next week.
respect it because you saw the guy in the waiting room too, and you know he needs it way more than you do. It makes you feel a little guilty. You're like, son of a bitch. So
Hand me your
all
money.
right.
Hey, Steve, there's one benefit to this though. You didn't have to pay for it.
You know what? You are 100% right. And I got free publicity
Yeah, you did. If you want to
to all
broadcast,
7 people who are listening.
if you want to
So do you
broadcast
have, like,
yourself
a-
some more, you can.
All right. Hey, come out to Hank's Barbecue in Columbus, Ohio, every Friday. I'm usually there.
Every Friday.
September 8th, something sketchy. I'm going to be there at Cafe Kerouac. And August 26th, make sure you get yourself to Summit City Comedy Club in Fort Wayne. That's going to be amazing. And then from there, go to Comedy Graffiti and support your local comedy community. And fucking don't fist fuck anything you shouldn't.
You have like a page where people can find you or anything? That's what I put out there?
That's a good one. You can find me on Instagram at that kid named Steve. Facebook is just Steve Hinkle, Stephen Hinkle, Stephen. And on Instagram, or I guess it's X now, because X gonna give it to you.
X.
Dude, imagine how pissed off
You mean
DMX
Twitter.
is right now.
You mean Twitter?
Yeah, fuck calling it X, because I know the only X I respect is DMX, and Elon Musk can suck my goddamn dick. I mean, it's at that kid named Steve.
So Steve, we do have our typical goodbye. If you want to join in, you can, but we're not going to announce what it is. So you boys ready?
Anyways, on that note.
We don't know what to say without Aaron.
Aw.